good?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Major Mike Leeper, L-E-E-P-P-E-R. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a brief overview of what occurred, and I'll give you the opportunity to take questions. So shortly after 2 o'clock today, Indianapolis Metropolitan Police officers are assigned to the East District received a radio dispatch call east of our location on a report of a possible home invasion where a female had contacted the police stating that there was possibly a violent domestic occurring at this location where a male was attempting to force entry inside that residence, and there was multiple updates to that dispatch advising that the female was possibly injured. As officers were en route to that call, one of our officers was heading eastbound on 10th Street in the 3400 block, lights and sirens. Vehicles pulled to the right side of the roadway pursuant to Indiana law to avoid avoid the emergency vehicle. As the officer proceeded past the vehicle that was pulled to the right side of the roadway, it's a preliminary at this point in time, but we believe that a vehicle failed to yield the right-of-way to the police vehicle that was traveling eastbound and pulled to the left, blocking the lane of travel. That officer attempted to take evasive action to avoid a collision with that vehicle. At the same time that that incident occurred, there was a bicyclist traveling westbound on 10th Street in the 3400 block. Again, based off of just our initial investigation, it appears that the officer attempted to avoid striking the bicyclist and the vehicle, as well as the bicyclist attempted to avoid striking the police vehicle, at which point in time the bicyclist and the police officer driving the police vehicle made contact. The officer exited his patrol car and attempted to render aid to that individual until Indianapolis EMS arrived. Indianapolis EMS arrived on scene and they transported that individual to a local level 1 trauma center in critical condition. We've received multiple updates from the hospital. That individual still remains in critical condition. We have no information to release on that individual other than at this point in time we believe it is an adult male. I want to remind everyone here today that our officers were en route to what they believe to be a violent call for service and an attempt to assist our citizens. I can tell you unequivocally that when I arrived on this scene and when the officers arrived on the scene, that officer appeared to be visibly upset from the incident as to what occurred, and it's very unfortunate. And I can assure you that the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department as a whole, our hearts go out to the family of this individual that was involved in this incident, and we hope that that individual is able to recover from this. Do you guys have any questions at this time?
What's the status of the vehicle that cut in front of the officer?
I don't know. So again, just like with anything, this is going to proceed into an investigation. So our officer was transported to a hospital for a blood draw, which is pursuant to our policy and pursuant to Indiana state law, based off that officer being involved in an accident that resulted in serious bodily injury or a fatality. Just like any citizen, they would submit to that blood draw. Along with that, the IMPD Crash Investigations Unit, the IMPD Special Investigations Unit, the IMPD Internal Affairs Investigations Unit are all out on scene right now conducting their investigations. Each one of them will conduct parallel investigations to one another to determine what occurred here today. Through that investigation, they'll canvass the area for witness information as well as surveillance video, and as we ascertain that information, we hope we'll be able to have more and make contact with that driver.
Would you like to, again, drive home the importance of yielding the right-of-way to emergency vehicles?
We understand it's so important, especially as vehicles get newer and newer. It's harder to hear the noise that's outside the vehicle, but it's just, you're talking about a very heavily populated area. It's dense with both pedestrians and vehicular traffic. These officers are faced with that every single day, where they're trying to go to serious calls for service, and are faced with pedestrians and other vehicles. And it's so important that we can't reiterate enough to the citizens that when you see a police car, when you see an ambulance or a fire truck, that you pull to the right side of the roadway. We can tell you that our officers are trained to go to the left once the vehicle slowed down, or gone to the right to avoid that collision. They're expecting that. That's what drivers are trained to do. So it's so important that people pull to the right side of the roadway and stop, so that we can avoid things like we have here today.
Any idea how long you guys are planning to be out here? Do you do the same reconstructive thing that you do in a regular accident?
So everything will be done just the way we would on a serious bodily injury accident. The only thing that's different here is because it's involving a police officer that was in this accident, the internal components will come out. So the Special Investigations Unit will conduct a parallel criminal investigation related to the officer. That's standard practice whenever we have an officer involved in an incident where there's potential for serious bodily injury or death, and the IMPD Internal Affairs Unit will also be out here conducting that investigation. Obviously, those two portions would not be on a normal serious bodily injury accident, but we'll be out here until this investigation is complete today. We want to make sure that we don't leave any stone unturned, that every witness that was involved in this incident or saw something is interviewed by our detectives, as well as any business owner or anyone that has video or evidence that would be related to this, that we recover that. So that's why it's so important that if anybody's watching this today that saw this accident, saw what occurred, that they either contact the IMPD Accident Investigations Unit, or they contact Crime Stoppers anonymously and give what information they have.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.